favorite songs, gun pointing to your head. Head. Bow, I'm dead.
Why would she say that?
Megan Thee Stallion just woke up something she cannot put back to sleep. Nobody in this story pulled a trigger first. Nobody wrote a diss track. Nobody went on a podcast. All it took was one laugh, one moment on a TikTok live that lasted less than 10 seconds. And the person on the other end of that laugh did not respond the way anyone expected. She did not come back with bars. She did not post a caption. She picked up a weapon that had already destroyed Megan once before, and she let it speak for her. But here is what nobody is talking about yet, and this was not a reaction. This was a loaded gun that had been sitting in a drawer for years. That laugh cost her more than she knew.
Then she posts a selfie of herself, and she makes sure to include Nicki Minaj's Bigfoot, right? And she made sure to play the portion of Bigfoot where she says, lying on your dead mama, lying on your dead mama.
Here's how this started. Cardi B dropped an album. On that album was a song called Pretty and Petty, and on that song was one line, one single line, aimed directly at BIA. The line asked a simple question: name 5 BIA songs with a gun pointed at your head. That line became a moment. Crowds went silent at Cardi's live shows when it hit. People posted about it, laughed about it, made memes about it, and BIA had to sit there and watch the whole world treat her career like a punchline. That alone would have been enough to light a fire. But then Megan got on TikTok Live. She was getting her hair done, music playing in the background, nothing serious, just another live stream. And then Pretty and Petty came on, and Megan laughed. Not a polite laugh, not a quiet laugh. A full-body gut-wrenching laugh that shook the whole room. Her stylists were laughing. Everyone in that room was laughing, and every single second of it was recorded. Now here is the part most people missed. BIA had been dealing with this kind of thing for years, longer than most people realize. She got signed in 2014. Her first real breakout moment did not come until years later. And even when it did come, even when she had the Nicki remix, even when she had the J. Cole record, she was still being looked at like a lesser version of someone else. Always compared, never crowned. So when Megan laughed at that line, even if it was not meant personally, it landed on top of years of being overlooked. Years of fighting for a seat at a table that kept getting moved. But what BIA did next was not what anyone expected. She did not write a verse. She did not call anyone out by name. She reached into a drawer and pulled out the most dangerous weapon in female rap history. And she let it play. That stillness right there, that calm. That is not someone reacting out of emotion. That is someone who already knew exactly what they were doing. But nobody was asking why she chose that specific song. Nobody was asking what she knew. And nobody was connecting the dots.
Would have been like, I would have been like, so, okay, yeah, I did that. I like to what about it? But the way, like, they have villainized me for being this type of person, it started to make me second guess myself. Yes, bitch, I lied to Gayle King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that. She's always want to talk about this shooting. Why'd you ask me about Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I like once, maybe twice on a drunk night, but you kept catching me out of my mind.
Now, here is what everybody got wrong about this story. The public version goes like this. BIA heard Megan laugh. BIA got her feelings hurt. BIA fired back. End of story. Just another celebrity beef that will be forgotten in 2 weeks. That is not what happened. Because BIA did not just play any song. She played Bigfoot. And she did not just play Bigfoot. She went into that song and found the one specific line that hits harder than anything else Nicki Minaj has ever said about Megan Thee Stallion. Think about what that means for a second. That is not someone reacting out of hurt feelings. That is someone who already had the ammunition loaded. Someone who knew exactly which line to use. Someone who had been studying this situation long before Megan ever got on that TikTok live. And then BIA went even further. She posted a screenshot, not of the song, not of Cardi, a screenshot of Megan sitting across from Gayle King. the most documented credibility wound Megan Thee Stallion has ever had in public. Online people immediately started taking sides. One comment said, BIA didn't even have to say a word. She said everything. Another said, this is so low. Leave the dead out of it. The comments were split right down the middle between people who thought BIA was a genius and people who thought she crossed a line that should never be crossed. But here is what nobody online was saying. Nobody was asking why BIA had this ready so fast. Because here is the thing about that Gayle King screenshot. Megan admitted something in that interview. Something she had denied for a long time. Something that her own fans had argued about for years. And BIA posted it with a caption that was so short, so calm, so precise, that it told the whole story without saying anything at all. She said it herself, in her own words, on camera, for the world to see. And BIA made sure the world saw it again. But what nobody had gone back to check yet, what nobody had connected, was that this was not the first time BIA had aimed something in Megan's direction. Not even.
Tory's team actually came out with a statement and said that the fact that Megan lied about her sexual relationship with Tory is obviously makes her an unreliable witness. If someone lies in front of millions of people, how can you trust what they say any other time?
Let me break down exactly what BIA did. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Think of it like this. Imagine two people got into a fight at school years ago. One person won, the other person lost. Now fast forward to today. A new fight breaks out, and the person who lost the first fight shows up, not with their own moves, but with a video of the first fight, saying, look what happened last time. Look what this person does when things get real. That is exactly what BIA did. She did not write a diss track because she did not need one. Nicki Minaj already wrote the most brutal attack on Megan Thee Stallion that female rap has ever seen. All BIA had to do was press play. And by pressing play, she did something even smarter than writing her own verse. She reminded every single person watching that Megan has already been here before, already been hit like this before. And the last time it happened, Nicki lost. The weapon failed. So now BIA is using a weapon that the whole world knows did not work the first time. And that raises a question nobody is asking out loud. Why would you use a losing weapon? Unless you are not trying to win the rap battle. Unless you are trying to reopen the wound. 11 seconds, 3 shots, 0 new words needed. Now here is where it gets deeper, because Tory Lanez's legal team had already done BIA's homework for her. After Megan's documentary dropped, after she admitted on camera what she admitted, Tory's team put out a formal statement. They did not just call her a liar in the streets, they called her an unreliable witness in a legal document. That is not gossip. That is a legal argument. And BIA weaponized both of them in the same Instagram story. The song and the screenshot, posted back to back, calm, unbothered. Like someone who had been sitting on this information for a very long time and finally had a reason to use it. But the reason she had it so ready, the reason this felt so practiced, that is the part of this story that nobody went back to find. Because this did not start with a TikTok live.
Interesting enough, people have uncovered that BIA has been throwing shots behind the scenes at Megan Thee Stallion for some time now. Okay? As you can see in this screenshot here, this was back during the court case where Tory Lanez ultimately got convicted and is serving his sentence in California. So this commenter says, tasteless, regardless if you meant to be harmless or you just have a jokester personality, this wasn't an event to be playful with. Read the room seriously. Hazel E, Baby, Emily B, and BIA. You all should be ashamed of yourselves for laughing at another woman's pain. Now, I don't remember whatever this video was. I guess they did some type of parody of what happened between Megan and Tory. I never knew this happened. But as you can see here, BIA says, girl, go to the courthouse and support her. The keyboard activist is not helping.
Remember when the Tory Lanez trial was happening? Remember how split everything was? Half the internet saying he did it. Half the internet saying she was lying. People picking sides before a single piece of evidence was shown. And right in the middle of all of that, while Megan Thee Stallion was sitting on a witness stand talking about the worst night of her life, there were people in the industry watching, laughing, taking sides. BIA was one of them. Not quietly, not privately, publicly. When fans online called out BIA and a group of other artists for making light of what happened to Megan, for laughing at her pain during one of the darkest moments of her life. BIA did not apologize. She did not stay quiet. She fired back at the people defending Megan with a response so cold, it should have been a headline. Read that back slowly. A woman was shot. She was on a witness stand. And BIA's response to people who were upset about it was, go to the courthouse then. That is not a hot take. That is not clout chasing. That is a position. A clear, documented, on-the-record position that BIA has held about Megan Thee Stallion for years, before any of this week's drama ever happened. And here is why that matters more than anything else in this story. Every channel covering this beef right now is treating it like it started on a TikTok live 4 days ago, like Megan laughed and BIA snapped and here we are. But that is only true if you were not paying attention 3 years ago, because BIA was never neutral. BIA was never a bystander. She picked a side during the trial, she defended that side publicly, and she has been carrying that position ever since. Think about what that means for Megan. She did not laugh at someone who was annoyed at her. She laughed at someone who has been on the opposite side of her most painful public moment for years. Someone who watched her cry in a courtroom and called the people defending her keyboard activists. That laugh on TikTok Live did not start a beef. It gave someone permission to finally say out loud what they had been holding for a very long time. And now Megan is sitting across from a weapon she has already felt before, fired by someone who has been aiming at her since before most people even knew these two had a problem. The question now is whether Megan responds, because if she does, and she has an album on the way, BIA just handed her the feature. Cardi B wrote a song. Megan laughed at it. BIA responded with a weapon built by Nicki Minaj, and the whole internet called it a new beef. But it was never new. It was never about a laugh on a TikTok live. It was never about Pretty and Petty. It was never even really about Bigfoot. This is about something that has been sitting underneath the surface of female rap for 3 years, since a courtroom in Los Angeles where sides were picked and positions were taken, and nobody forgot which side anyone stood on. BIA did not react to a laugh. She reacted to 3 years of watching Megan Thee Stallion survive everything. The shooting, the trial, the Nicki beef, the Cardi era. Every single time someone tried to take Megan down, she got back up. And every single time she got back up, the people who were on the other side had to watch it happen. That is what makes this moment so much bigger than an Instagram story. Because BIA is not the only one who has been watching. Think about what this story really connects. You have Cardi B, the biggest female rapper alive right now, dissing BIA on her album and performing it to sold-out crowds every night. You have Nicki Minaj's most personal attack on Megan being recycled as a weapon by someone in Nicki's corner. You have a legal argument from Tory Lanez's team being used as receipts in a hip-hop beef. And you have Megan Thee Stallion, who has an album coming, sitting at the center of all of it. This is not a two-person story anymore. This is a fault line running through the entire landscape of female rap, and BIA just jumped on it. Now here is the final detail that nobody has said out loud yet. Bigfoot failed the first time. Universally panned, Megan won that round. Nicki lost. Everyone agreed on that. So BIA choosing Bigfoot as her weapon is either the boldest move in this beef or the dumbest one, because she just reminded the entire internet that this weapon has already been fired at Megan once, and Megan is still standing. So the question every single person watching this needs to answer is simple. Was BIA out of line for using a dead woman's memory as a weapon in a rap beef that Megan did not even start? Or did Megan bring every single bit of this on herself the moment she laughed on that TikTok live? Two sides. No easy answer. And somewhere right now, Megan Thee Stallion is deciding whether to respond. Drop your answer in the comments, because this